This is Chapter 5, Section 4, How a Bill Becomes a Law. So, to simplify this complicated process, kind of just going to go step by step. So, we should know a bill is a proposed law. So, the idea for a proposed law, can come from a variety of sources. A senator or representative can think of an idea for a new law. Individual citizens can contact their senator or representative to talk about new laws. Corporations might want new laws, for help their business out. Special interest groups such as PETA, they might want stricter animal abuse laws. And the president can think of things that he wants to accomplish by making new laws. But a bill can only be introduced to Congress by a representative or a senator. So, if you have an idea for a bill, you have to tell the U.S. Representative Lamb, and he will, or one of the senators, PA senators, Bob Casey or Pat Toomey, and they will introduce your idea for a bill to the U.S. Congress. So probably the closest one for Connor Lamb office is Connor Lamb's office in Mount Lebanon. You can literally go to his office, and he probably won't be there, but some of his employees will be there to talk to, and they'll get to Connor Lamb, but he might be there. So a bill can start in either the House of Representatives or the Senate. So in the House of Representatives, all proposed bills are placed in a box called the hopper, and it's located outside of the Speaker of the House office. So here's the hopper right here, just a wooden box, you put it in it. So the Speaker of the House has, like we said before, has a lot of power, and they assign bills to a committee, and how fast they do that is up to the Speaker of the House. But the Speaker of the House has to assign the bill to the correct committee, such as a bill proposing to raise the minimum wage would be assigned to the Labor and Human Resources Committee. But in the Senate, there is no hopper. Proposed bills go directly sent to committee as long as no senators vote to reject the bill initially in the Senate. So the whole Senate votes on it. If the majority of the Senate votes that it should go to the committee, then it goes to committee. So when the bill enters committee, after being introduced by a representative or senator, once it goes to committee, it's sent to a subcommittee to discuss the bill in detail and then edit the bill if needed from there. A bill can die in committee if the committee chairperson doesn't want the bill to move forward at all. If initially the committee chairperson doesn't want anything to do with the bill, then they'll just choose to not discuss it, or they choose not to assign it to a subcommittee, and they just ignore it. And this is called putting it in a pigeonhole. This is just totally ignoring the bill and putting it off till later. Sometimes they never get to it, and then the bill dies in committee in the pigeonhole. So once a bill is approved by the committee and the committee chairperson, they think the bill has been edited and ready to be sent to the House of Representatives or the Senate floor, and from there on the Senate or Representative floor, it'll be debated. This is called reporting the bill, and the bill is sent to the whole House of Representatives to be debated. While the representatives are being in the House of Representatives, the Speaker of the House and the committee chairperson where the bill came from decide how long the bill will be openly debated amongst all of the representatives. And then the Speaker of the House chooses who speaks first and when. So this is, says this is Representative Dave McKinley. He's talking about, coal waste, EPA regulations, and he's discussing this bill, and he's debating this bill in the House of Representatives. When a bill is reported in the Senate, though, senators have unlimited amount of time to debate the bill in the Senate. Unlike the House of Representatives, where they set a scheduled time, the senators do not. Senators can kill a bill on the Senate floor by using this tactic called a filibuster. And a filibuster is the use of long speeches to prevent a vote on a bill. Senators have the ability to talk for hours upon hours to wear out the opposition to prevent a bill from passing. So when it's that, so they'll get together and they say, all right, if a senator wants to stop this bill, they'll just stand up and they just start, honestly, they start talking and talking and talking and talking the whole entire session until the bill never gets to be voted on. Senator Strom Thurmond spoke for 24 hours straight before. He didn't want the Civil Rights Act to be passed, but it didn't matter anyways because the Civil Rights Act passed the next day. But he tried to get it to not pass, but he lasted 24 hours. That's the longest time anybody's ever talked on a filibuster in Congress continuously. A filibuster can be forcibly ended. They can shut up a senator from talking if a vote of cloture can be established, and a cloture is the agreement to end the debate of a bill. For this to happen, 3/5 of the majority of the senators have to vote for cloture to be enacted. So a famous example of a filibuster being used is when Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. This movie, Jimmy Stewart famously plays Mr. Smith. He goes to Washington and he doesn't want this bill to be passed. So what he does, he starts a filibuster and he just talks and talks and talks all day. He's exhausted by the end and passes out. So a bill is passed in either the House or the Senate by a simple majority. So example is if 52 senators vote for it and 48 against it, the bill passes in the Senate. Once a bill is passed in one house, so say it's passed in the Senate, then it goes to the House, and the whole entire process is repeated. It goes to committee, and then it's debated, and then it's voted on. So the whole process starts again. And any one of these processes, the bill can be killed in the other house, like either in committee or on the Senate floor. But if one house passes the bill and the other does not, then a conference committee, it can be discussed. Like, let's discuss it. Let's try to build a bridge between the House and Senate. And so this conference committee, like we talked about before, has both House of Representatives on it and the Senate members in it as well. If at the end of the conference there is no agreement, then the bill dies. If the Senate and the House of Representatives can't talk it out and can't form a bill that they can both pass, then it dies. But if the Senate and House of Representatives do come to agreement and they pass it, becomes both houses pass the bill, then it becomes an act of Congress. So after the bill is passed by both the House and Senate, it goes to the President of the United States to be signed. A bill must be signed by the President to become a law. In most cases. We'll get to that in a second. The President can reject the bill, though, and it's called a veto. So if it passes in both houses, it comes to the President. He doesn't like it, then he vetoes it. He rejects the bill. So the President can choose to do nothing with the bill, and if Congress is not in session after 10 days, the bill dies. This is called a pocket veto. So usually in the summer, Congress is not in session. Congress people go back to their states and districts to see what the people want and everything like that. They need to spend time with their people. They can't spend all their time in Washington, D.C. They wouldn't be there with their... They wouldn't be there to relate with their people and bring new laws back to the House and the Senate. But when it's not in session, the President does nothing. It's called a pocket veto. But say the President vetoes it, the House and Senate can override the veto with a 2/3 of majority vote in both houses. That's how they can get it passed. But that's pretty hard to do. But if the President signs the bill, then it officially becomes a law. So you might have heard the song by the Schoolhouse Rock here, how a bill becomes a law. But that's really simplifying it. It's a good representation. That's what this is from. But the process of a bill becoming law is very complicated and a long process. Only on an average of 5% of bills become laws. It's very hard. And the framers of the Constitution wanted this to be hard because they wanted a stable and consistent government. They didn't want new laws being passed every single day. It'd be very confusing for the citizens. They wanted a stable government. So the framers also believed that if a bill was able to go through all the hard, long process, boy, it must be a good law then if this many people agree on it. So, like I was saying before, the Schoolhouse Rock video, how a bill becomes a law, it actually gives a great visual representation of how a bill becomes a law, and it's a catchy tune. So I recommend you watch it. So these are visual representations of how a bill comes a law. It started, it goes to committee, and then um, if it's approved, it goes to Congress. They vote on it. It can be rejected, or it can be done again. And then once it's passed in one house, it's passed has to be passed in the other. But it can also die there. But a conference committee can be enacted. If both pass it, they send it to the president. If he signs it, it's a law. If it's not, it's vetoed, and it can go back to Congress if they vote. If the 2/3 majority vote in both houses, it can still become a law. All right, this is just another representation flow chart. All right, this concludes how a bill becomes a law.